Hello guys and welcome back in this new video where we're going to introduce ourselves on C++ variable. So first of all, we're going to start by defining a variable. A variable in C++ can be defined as an abstraction for memory location. About variable, we have a couple aspects that we have to take in consideration. First of all, the type of the variable I have to define before the name of variable when we want to declare it. The variable must be declared before we use it in C++. So the syntax of a variable, as you can see on my screen right now, can look like something like that. We're going to provide the type. This is an integer, for example. After that, the name of the variable, and finally the semicolon. This zero between the curly braces mean that we have initialized our home weight at 0. But I'm going to talk about it soon. Okay. So we have normally three kinds of variable generally on C++. We have integer variable, double variable, and string variable. Okay. So variables are case sensitive. So if I'm running here room width and over there I change maybe the R here or O with uppercase O. If I've used the lowercase O here and I come and put the uppercase O here, I'm gonna have a compile error, as you can see directly here. Okay, so all our variables are case sensitive, so make sure to use exactly the name that you have declared without change the case, the sensitive case. Okay, so something else that I'm going to take down here is we cannot have space in a variable. Okay, for example, I cannot define a variable like that, room space width. That doesn't make sense. I'm going to have an error. So you always have to define a variable. You can use a underscore, or you can write your variable name directly, maybe like so something that is close together 100%. Like I can say room with if I want. Okay, I can say that this should be a valid variable as well, integer room width. But there's a lot of option. We can use that kind of notation, but I'm feeling more comfortable with this one with the underscore, so that's why I'm going to use it during this class. Okay, so something else that we have to take down is we couldn't we could not use special C++ keyword to name a variable. Okay, for example, cout, scene. In the previous video I've talked about keyword, C++ keyword that we have in the C++ library. If you try to use this standard keyword that C++ is already used, you're going to have automatically a compile error. Okay, so that's a little bit it. And the last thing that I can add is about how to initializing a variable. As here, I'll talk a little bit about it. I can initialize my variable like that. So if I'm calling the function without give some precision, or without uh, change the original variable, by default I'm going to have the one that I've defined here. Okay, so you can initialize a variable on C++ using this, but there are a couple options. Okay, I can also say integer room width, for example here, and just define it equal maybe 0. This is the same. Okay, and this is the formula used with C-like initialization, and it's not that much practice, And it's not the only way that you can use it. We can also use constructor initialization with parentheses. Okay, if I want to use a constructor initialization here, for example, I can do this. See, so this is another kind of initialization using the constructor. We're going to talk more about the constructor concept in the next episode on this series. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this one right now. Yeah, so I'm going to keep it on the C++ initializing structure for this episode. So that's a little bit it about introduction on C++ variable. And right there, as I said before, we have three type of variable. We have integer, like right now you have integer, right? This is, for example, a code that we should use in order to uh, evaluate uh, the area of a room, okay? So we have our include input output stream on top using namespace standard. Okay, in our main function, I've defined a couple stuff. Like you can see here that um, I've declared I've declared a integer room, a variable integer room width, and I have initializing it to 0. Okay, and after that, I'm asking to the user enter the width of the room. Okay, and I will stock the answer. I will stock that answer in this variable. And after that, I've initialized the next variable just before to ask to the user to enter the length of his room. And you can see that I also stock this one in the room length variable. And finally, see how the area of the room is. I've multiplied the both value that the user has been entered here, square feet, NL, and return 0. So this is a quick and pretty easy code to evaluate the surface of a room. Okay, so I'm going to run this quickly. I'm going to rebuild it first, rebuild my project, make sure that everything compile fine, and after that, I'm going to run it, enter the width of the room 4, enter the length of the room 5. So I have 20, okay? So the area of the room is 20 square feet. It's just awesome. It's working perfectly, okay? So another best practice that you're gonna have should be to avoid to list all your variables on the top of your code. If you have a long program with maybe, I don't know, 100 code, if you just list them on the top, it's not going to be readable and comprehensible for somewhere else when you're going to check your code. So the best practice asks you to list your variable just before to write the section that your variable going to use. Okay, so this is something really useful that you're going to keep with you as well. Okay, so let's say now that I would like to use maybe the second type of variable that we have. So I'm going to define here as a double. Maybe we have some rooms that have length and width looks like fluffed or double number. So we have a decimal part, right? For example, right there, let me run this code again. Enter the width of the room. I'm going to say, for example, 5.5. Enter the width. enter the length of the room. The area of the room is 0 square feet. Okay, so we have this garbage directly because I said that I should define the length and width as an integer, and I've provided a float. Okay, so to fix that, for example, you're going to change the value here. You're going to change the variable type here to double. Okay, double. So I'm going to do the same here. Double. Okay. If I've defined it, I define them as double, and I rebuild my code, and I execute it. 5.5, 10.5. You see, everything was good now because the variable type has to be aligned with what we have defined. Okay, so that's a little bit it about that stuff. Okay, so right now maybe I'm gonna take another example. Okay, I'm gonna use maybe a string now. Okay, and I'm gonna change a couple of things here. So I'm gonna say string. So I will say string first name, and I'm gonna initialize it to Yannick. Say out. I'm gonna make it. So I've changed a little bit my code right now, as you can see. So we still have the same header, but my main function have changed. Okay, I've defined a string first name Yannick. Okay, so I'm using the third type of variable type that you have here. So string first name Yannick. Okay, and proceeding with C out. My first name is first name NL, and I've defined after that string last name twist. Okay, see out my last name is last name. Okay, finally see out my full name is first name space last name, return 0. Okay, so we're going to compile this quickly, and you're going to see what we have when we run it, when we execute it. Okay, so the compiler runs successfully. Let's execute it now. My name is Yannick. My last name is Twist. My full name is Yannick Twist. You see? So it's just awesome how this thing works. So that's it about this first episode on variable with C++. If you have learned something new, give a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not yet. And also make sure to click on the bell in order to follow the next episode that I'm going to share with you on this C++ series and IT stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next episode.